Today I wanted to talk to you about identity, in particular loss of identity in the midst of this COVID-19 craziness. So how's everybody doing?
Check it out! Look at, I'm in really bad shape. Come on, please, please.
Bob.
Give me. I need.
We're a few weeks into this, and I know probably everybody at this point is kind of going crazy. So I kind of wanted to share about what it was like when I first stopped working and was kind of first quarantined. It's quite funny. I went into overdrive mode, even not feeling well, and started massively researching all of my medical issues and trying to find like the cure or the fix, because I just wanted it to be over. I just wanted to not feel the way I was feeling, and I wanted to have my independence back. I wanted my job back. I wanted my life back. And I was just so anxious and so unwilling to give up that control. You know, I was in no way finding freedom at that time. And so it's just funny. I look back on it now, and I mean, I spent hours digging and combing through articles after article about my medical conditions, and to the point where like I was exhausting myself and actually making my health worse. But that's the funny thing, is I think that we try to control, or at least we have this illusion of control, that we can fix something when it's completely out of our realm, you know? And right now we have no idea when this quarantine is going to end. We have no idea how far this virus is going to go. We have no idea. Like,
It's not you, it's me.
so we're living in this constant kind of panic. I started to recognize this about myself. I started to recognize that, you know, I was trying so hard. Once I stopped researching, I started talking to people in blogs, and I started gaining more friendship on groups, which is great. You know, I was gaining community, but I was still in search of a fix. I think we all do this. We run from discomfort. We completely run from discomfort. We don't like it. We don't want it. So when we have emotions about things, if we feel sad about something, if we're disappointed, we go out and have a drink with our friends, or we go out and we take a bath, and soak in the tub, we go get a pedicure, we go buy something, whatever it is. Like we take that feeling and we numb it. And really what we need to do is go to God and sit before him and be like,
Ow.
this sucks. And that's hard. That's really hard. Because when you have nowhere to run, you have to face what you're feeling. You have to deal with what's coming to the surface. And because we have so much space and so much time right now, there's so much that comes to the surface. And Father Mike Schmidt did this video on silence. He talks about this, that when we're silent, all of a sudden, it's almost like all this stuff starts screaming in our head. And what we typically want to do is shove it all down, but that's the last thing that we should do. We should open it up to God, bring it to him, and invite him into it, which is challenging because it means we then have to deal with it. I started to do that. I started to just say simple prayers of like, Lord, help me.
Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals.
That's the thing, is you have to be patient with yourself right now. You can't expect to have like long extended prayers. It's taking one little bit at a time and going through one little tiny thing. And if your prayer is only Lord help me, that's okay. Like we need God so much sometimes that like just the cry for help is enough for him to work. And then the next day is a little bit more, and the next day is a little bit more. And each day you build on that and build on that, but it's not giving up. The thing that was really hard is that once that stillness kind of like you allow that into your life, and once you allow yourself to go into these things that are coming up and coming into your face, often it really rocks like the core of who you are. When we have things taken away from us that defines us, like for me, it was doing photography, doing youth ministry, doing ministry, period.
I sail. I'm a sailor. I sail.
All those things gave me worth, gave me value. And when all of that was taken away, I was struggling to know who I was. And then because of that, I was questioning everything. And I was losing myself. And then I was taking it out on my husband and taking it out on myself. And it's amazing when you start seeing the same patterns, that when you get to these low times in your life, it's the same voice saying the same dang things over and over again. But I think it's funny because I really do see that it always goes back to identity. Like if he can attack the core of who we are, then he's won. And so I started to have the same crisis of identity. Like if I don't have these things, then who am I? And what is my worth? There's this clip, and I want you to listen to like specifically the words of the character of Satan. It's the agony in the garden. And I want you to really pay attention to what that Satan is saying to Jesus, because I think it gives us strength knowing that Jesus kind of went through the same things that we did. The things that I want to point out to you are exactly what Satan says and the tactics that he uses. First of all, he goes to exactly what Christ is overwhelmed by right now. Like he already knows he's overwhelmed. He knows what's coming, like the crucifixion. And so he says, do you really believe that one man can bear the full burden of sin? He goes to make him question, like, you have no strength. You can't do this. There's no way. And like, this is the kind of stuff that I was hearing in my head. And I know probably a lot of you are right now. Like, can I really make it through this? Like, or, what if we get sick? What if my child gets sick? What if my spouse gets sick? Like, and it's all these fears, and it's play on all your anxieties and your strength. Like, he wants you to believe that you can't do this. No one can carry this burden, I tell you. He's saying this to Christ. He is God, like God, fully God. No one can carry this burden, I tell you. It's far too heavy. Like, you're never gonna get through this. How many times do you feel like you've heard this, like, in your head? Like, you'll never get through this situation. You just aren't worth it. Like, you're just too weak. You're too pitiful. You're too whatever, Saving their souls is far too costly. So let's go to the selfishness of this, right? I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to go spend time with myself because my kids are demanding too much, my spouse is demanding too much, and I just can't do it, So he like plays to the selfishness of our hearts. Like, you don't need to do this. Like, they don't even give a crap anyways, and it's far too costly. Like, I love that, like, literally, this is what I hear in my head, and I don't know about you, but it's these very, like, it just keeps going on. Like, you will not do this. I'm telling you, you're not worth it. What do you have left? Who are you if you don't have these things? There's nothing for you. And then he goes even deeper to our identity. Who is your father? Do you even belong? Like, do you belong to anybody? Like, who is your father? And has he abandoned you? And he just keeps going deeper and deeper into our identity. Who are you? Like, if that isn't a question that all of us have posed to ourselves over and over and over again. When we're faced with a challenge, when we're faced with anything, like, who am I? And when we make a mistake, oh my gosh, who am I? Like, I can't even believe I did that. I thought I knew myself, and in this time, like, we go back so much to like our creature comforts. You know, I found myself falling into sins that I haven't even experienced or struggled with for years. And thankfully, my spiritual director was like, well, yeah, Elise, that's what happens. Like, when you have all the comforts taken away, you are going to go back to those things, trying to numb the things that you're experiencing. So I encourage you, be gentle with yourself right now.
All I have to do is take one little step at a time, and I can do anything.
Like, that's what the Lord was telling me. Like, be gentle with yourself, but also remember who you are. That take away everything that you've ever done, and you will still have worth. Like, you will still be a son or daughter of God. And that the Lord, as I said in the last video, doesn't need you to do anything in order to be loved, in order for you to have value. And so right now, identify, like, when we have an enemy, we have to identify that enemy, identify the tactics, and then destroy them. So when you hear those voices in your head, who are you? Who is your father? No one can do this. Tell them to shut up.
I want some peace and quiet.
Shut up. This is what I used to say to my youth group kids all the time. Tell him to shut his face. You know who you are. You will get through this. You are strong enough. And like, the battle has already been done. Christ is already, this week of Holy Week, when Christ goes literally on the cross and completes the ultimate sacrifice of love, you are enough. You can do this. You have strength. You know who you are. Do not let anyone tell you differently. I'm so glad that I get a chance to share this with you. I'm so glad that I've been walking this road so that I can share some of the things that I've been dealing with and what the Lord has shown me, because it's been such a gift, and now I get to share it with people, which is so amazing. So thank you so much. I'm going to continue to share. I hope that you guys have an amazing Holy Week. It's a really strange week for all of us, I'm sure. Nobody being able to go to church or celebrate with anybody else. But you've got this. And we're going to get through this together. Enjoy every single moment of this adventure right now, because that's what it is. Take every single step. And when you can't do it, call on him for help. Live by grace, not perfection. It's something I got at Hobby Lobby, and honestly, I've been living by it. There is this gap that we have to fill by God's grace, and we need him. And it's okay if you need to cry. It's okay if you need to take a nap. It's okay if you need to take a hot bath. It's okay if you have to run screaming down the road. Like, it's okay right now. It's okay. Just be honest with him. Don't forget who you are. And love the best that you can. Y'all have a great Holy Week, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you again. Love your faces.
Baby step onto the elevator. Baby steps into the elevator. I'm in the elevator.
I'll never give up. It's no, I never